Good evening. I'm Diana Lupari, Chair of the Boxborough Select Board. Our board is reconvening now in open session. For the sake of this session, I do want to call the roll once more. Les?
Fox, present.
John Markowitz?
Markowitz, present.
Wes Folks?
Present.
And Diana Lupari, I am present. Okay, so first I have a few announcements. The town is seeking a full-time administrative assistant for the Department of Public Works and Fire. If you are interested, please see the town website for more details. Michael Johns is inviting all staff, boards, committees, commission members, and town volunteers to the holiday luncheon on Tuesday, December 20th from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Invitations were sent out today for chairs and department heads to circulate. Please be sure to check your inbox or contact Kelly Price for more information. Santa is coming to town. Please join the festive fun. Santa Drive Around Town Day is Saturday, December 17th. Please see the town's website for more details and the route. Boxborough Minutemen Christmas Tree Pickup is now going to be January 7th, 2023. The Boxborough Minutemen, with help from the Boxborough DPW, will be collecting and chipping Christmas trees from Boxborough residents this year on Saturday, January 7th, 2023. More information will be posted on the boxboroughminuteman.org website. Special note from Steel Farm. A very limited supply of Steel Farm maple syrup is offered to the public just in time for the holidays. It's the first release, an historic event. Syrup collected from our own trees at Steel Farm, presentation bottled by local residents. 12 ounces, $10 donation or more if you can. Call Arden Villet at 978-263-8151 to pick up. That's 978-263-8151. So we are now going to see if there are any. Oh, well, I guess we're going to do the approval of minutes first. So we have a few minutes to approve here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call each one. And if there is anything that anyone wants to comment on in these minutes, just ask me to hold and then we'll go back to them. These are regular session minutes from the 13th of June, the 30th of June, the 22nd of August, the 26th of September, the 17th of October, the 24th of October, the 2nd of November, and the 28th of November. All of these are from 2022. Do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
Do I have a second? Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All right. Wes?
Fox, aye.
Fox? Les?
Fox, aye.
John?
Markowitz, aye.
And Lopari, aye. So do we have any community concerns tonight? I see no hands raised, so we will move on to our new business. The first one is the acceptance of the deed for 95-105 Sergeant Road. Is Becky Harris on the call?
Madam Chair, she has an ill family member at home. She was going to be briefing on this, so I'll just introduce it to you. This is the quitclaim deed that has been processed and is before you this evening for the board to vote on. And this is from the article that was voted on at your May 9th annual town meeting. It was under Article 23, and a certified copy of the deed is in your packet. So all we need for this evening is for the board to take a vote, and then you can come in and sign this, and then we'll have Becky, the town clerk, notarize this once you've all signed it.
All right. I move that the select board accept a deed to the land at 95-105 Sergeant Road in the form presented and authorize town council to make non-substantive changes of form to the deed as necessary prior to recording. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Wes?
Fox, aye.
Les?
Aye.
Oh, Wes. We got those mixed. Wes?
Aye.
Les?
Fox, aye.
Okay. John?
Markowitz, aye.
And Lopari, aye. Thank you. Our next one is the Mass DOT, the Winter Recovery Assistance Program for 113,000 funds. Ed Kukula, are you with us, our director of the DPW?
Hello, everyone. How's everyone tonight?
Hey, Ed.
This has been an ongoing thing with Mass DOT. They've every so often they feel like they have a little extra money they can give out to cities and towns to help with the roads that have been damaged through winter, and it's ongoing through this winter too. We did receive it about a month ago. As you said, we got 113,000. And we will be using it to, what's eligible for the RAP is rehabilitation of roads, either reconstruction, resurfacing, or, crack sealing. And we can replace traffic control devices, which we don't have any, so that's out. If we needed signs, we could do that, guardrails, and storm sewer grades. We also can use it to stripe roads if necessary, and we actually do have one road that I've been asked by residents to restripe, and that is Liberty Square Road. It hasn't been redone in a while, and I don't know if you noticed, but or not noticed, because it's fading so bad there that some of the elderly residents are complaining that it's tough to see going down the road. So I get some quotes at about $3,000, so we'll be using some of that for striping the road instead of using the residents' money for it for next year, which I had put in for a capital plan. We're also going to do some crack sealing with it when the time comes in April. We have to use it by June 30th of 2022, or we don't become eligible to use it after that. So it's a great thing. I'm glad Mass DOT can step up to the plate like this and help the cities and towns with the ongoing costs of trying to keep our roads in as good a shape as possible throughout the year, not just because of winter.
Well, congratulations on getting this. It's great.
Yeah, it was great. It was good to see. So, like I said, we'll be going out to bid for the crack sealing probably in February or March, and hopefully get it done right as the season starts. So, we can get that company to move ahead and get it done before June 30th.
Great. Les?
Thanks.
Yeah, Ed, when you're talking about striping, you're talking about doing side striping as well as center line striping?
I'm not sure. I know back in the day when I did the yellow stripes that there was some negative feedback as well, not only positive. And I can. That's I can take the heat if you feel that's necessary. It's probably going to cost about another $3,000, so it really doesn't hurt our overall money. The only tough part with this is, and you'll probably get more inquiries as we do just one road, is you'll be having residents ask why my road can't get done.
That's true. I only bring it up because my recollection is the last time we discussed this, and it's been a while, is that someone, one of the citizens, I think, brought up the notion of striping the sides because, especially in the wintry, rainy evening, it gets very hard to see where the edge of the road is in some cases, and a white stripe on the edge can help a great deal. And that was what they were advocating for. I don't know that we ever actually did anything, but I just thought I'd ask now to see if there's any plans.
Yeah.
But you're right. Somebody's going to complain that their road didn't get done. And so you have to deal with that.
It's the only one that I know of that actually has been done by the town. So, we're not really setting a precedence. We're just redoing what's out on that one road.
Right.
So, but I will look into getting the white done as well. I think it is better in the winter when especially when it gets dark early, to be able to see that white line better than you can the yellow line.
Yeah. Thanks. Good work.
Okay.
John?
Yeah, Ed, congratulations on getting the grant. That's fantastic. There is a small stretch of Central Street that's in Boxborough that has not been lined. I don't know when, but I noticed that when I get off Route 2 and head into Acton on that small portion in Boxborough, it's the only portion of Central Street that's not lined.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if we can do anything about that.
Yeah, I can go out and measure it and just add that to the quote with the people that I got the quotes from.
That'd be great, Ed. And I know the comment you're going to get about Liberty Square Road, that you're turning it into a super highway by putting the line down. The middle.
Right.
Yeah, that's what stripes do, you know.
That's right. But they also help to keep the traffic where it's supposed to be.
That's true too, Joe.
It's great you're so
thank you.
observant, John. I go up and down that road all the time and I never noticed it, so I'm glad you did. That's great. Do I have a motion on this issue? Anybody want to make the motion? I can read it if you want.
I move to approve the Massachusetts Department of Transportation Highway Division for Winter Recovery Assistance Program funds of $112,928.65.
I think it's 928, John.
Oh, 928. That's right.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Wes,
Oaks, aye.
Liz,
Fox eye.
John,
Markowitz, aye.
and Lepari, aye. Thank you very much, Ed.
Thank you for all your support. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks,
Thank
Ed.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
So next we have the ARPA-funded Boxborough Emergency Assistance Program, and we have Wendy here to talk about it. Do we have Wendy as a co-host?
Yes.
Great.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wendy Abbott, the Community Services Coordinator, and I've been working with a team of 4 of us to get this money into the hands of Boxborough families. So we finally have come up with a program, and we named it BEEP. I have this slide before. It's the Boxborough. It's my first time doing this. It's the Boxborough Emergency Assistance Program. That's what BEEP stands for. And this is money that we got from the ARPA funds, the America Rescue Act.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for this particular program, we got $105,000 for grants and the admin fee. And I just want to point out for the admin fee, we had originally been working with Metro West Collaborative, and they actually were extremely helpful in setting up the program and giving us guidelines that other cities and towns in Massachusetts have used. And we wanted them to process the checks and do some of the vetting, but their fees were like astronomically high. So the team decided to keep it in-house. So myself and my admin, Natalie, are going to administer the program and use the town to cut the checks to the provider. And this is going to save a ton of money. And I will use, when we will try and keep our hours separate and put it towards the ARPA account. And it's just going to save a lot of money. They were going to charge us like 25% of each of the $1,000 grants.
Wow.
And they were going to charge us a monthly fee of $1,500. So it's going to be a lot more money going to the town by us doing it in-house, but there will be a few more hours that we'll both have to use for that. And here comes my cat. It's temporary and the grants are up to, oh, John, you have a question?
Oh, no, keep going, Wendy. You're doing a great job.
Okay, your hand's up.
I know. I'm going to ask you a question later.
Oh, okay. the grants are up to $1,000 per year. And since the funds expire in 2024, we are allowing clients can reapply each year, 2023 and 2024. The type of expenses they can use it on is pretty much, it's under, we have an other category, but the main thing is rent, utilities, medical, transportation, dental. In the income limits, we're using the same income. Did somebody say something? Oh, no. We're using the same income limits that we use for the BRAP. So it's 80% of the AMI. And then we're going to have an asset limit, and these are liquid assets. So it would be 1,000 for one person or 3,000 K or more for two or more people. And most of the people I'm assuming that I'm going to know from dealing with them and seeing their financials. So we're going to have them attest to these income limits and the asset limits. But we also put on the application that we reserve the right to ask for additional information. Let's see. I think that's it for that slide. The application and the process. The applications, we're going to start accepting them January 2nd of 2023. Natalie currently is working on an online version of the application, but and that's going to be found under the Community Services Department on our website. And then there'll also be hard copies at the town hall and the library, just like we do for the BRAP program. And you can also call or email our office and we can get you, because there's a lot of people that don't have a printer. So like for the BRAP program, they come down and they ask me to print them off a copy. And then they'll be submitted to myself. And then there'll be a team. We decided, I worked a lot with Reverend Cindy, and she does the community support fund. So we modeled some of it after that. And so the way that works is the grants come into her and then she uses a team of people. So my team is going to be Reverend Cindy and Mary Pavlik and myself. So I'm not the only one responsible for saying yay or nay to it. And I'll have support that way. So let's see if there's any. So there's that. And then I just wanted to also point out, so that's the end of the Boxborough Assistance Program, but I also wanted to point out and thank the Select Board for also giving other monies to community services, and just give you a little update on that. For the Boxborough Rental Assistance Program, we added 2 extra slots, and those have been filled. They were filled in the spring by the previous community services coordinator. And then the latest and greatest thing that I'm so excited about is our food pantry agreement for the 15,000 was finally signed. And I called Donna today at the food pantry and she is like thrilled. So I said, Donna, start spending your money and get me those receipts. So these 2 big programs, the BEEP and the food pantry, I'm thrilled to say that we are underway. And then one thing I just want to do a thank you, because it wasn't just me that did this. The Wellbeing Committee, I had a lot of support from Liz Markowitz and her team. And then the BEEP team consisted of Al Murphy. And I just want to thank him a lot, because he was the instrumental part in procuring these funds for not only BEEP, but the BRAP ARPA money. And he's also a member of the Wellbeing and the Housing Board. And then I want to thank Mary Pavlik, because she's on our team and she does so much volunteering in the town, and she's on the Wellbeing. And then finally, I just want to thank Reverend Cindy. She has been so instrumental in this town, and she's given so much of her time, and especially like after the previous CSC left and before I started, she did so much to go out of her way and help me, and she's been training me and teaching me things, and she's like an incredible resource for this town. And then I just want to thank the select board for approving the funds, and I hope you're excited that we're finally going to be using them.
And so Wendy, my hand is up because I wanted to applaud you and the whole team for doing this. This is great news on many levels. It's nice to see the opera money starting to be used the way it was supposed to be used. This is a tremendous initiative, and I just want to say congratulations to you and to everyone.
Thank you so much. We're excited to start using it as well.
We can tell.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Wendy. It was great. And for
You're welcome.
updating us on the other situations as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody else before we let Wendy go and on with her evening? Thank you very much, Wendy. We really appreciate it. And good luck with the program.
Thank you.
Good night.
Right.
So now we have the MIIA and MMA annual meeting vote authorization. Mike.
So, Madam Chair, on January 20th and 21st, the Massachusetts Municipal Association is having its annual meeting, and also a directors meeting of the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Agency, which is partnered with MAA or MMA, excuse me. And Rajan and I will be at that meeting, and of course the board of the select board members are welcome to attend that. And the reason this vote is in front of you this evening is in case there is not a select board member at the meeting when they both vote for the MMA board of directors as well as the board of directors for our insurance association. This vote is to authorize me as your town administrator to vote on your behalf. If there's a select board member there, then you are the one that would be voting, either you yourself as the chair or one of the other members of your board.
So does anyone want to comment on this? The vote doesn't preclude any one of us from being there. So
Kind of what we've done every year.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, then I'm going to move to authorize the town administrator as a designee to act as the town's voting delegate at the Massachusetts Municipal Association, MMA, and Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Association, MIIA, annual meetings to be held on January 20th, 2022 through January 21, 2023, if a member of the select board cannot be present. Note the annual business meeting, 9:45 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. and MIIA business meeting luncheon, 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Do I have a second?
Second.
So let's vote. Any further discussion? Les.
Hawks eye.
John.
Markowitz, aye.
Wes.
Folks, aye.
And Lopari, aye. Thank you very much, Mike and Rajan, for doing this in advance. I'm thanking you.
You're welcome.
So now we have the dates for first of all, we want to open the 2023 annual town meeting warrant. We decided at the last meeting that we were going to open the warrant on January 12th to close it on January 9th. So, I guess basically we need a motion. Does anyone want to make a motion on this one?
I move to open the warrant for the annual town meeting of 2023 as of December 12th.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Les.
Hawks eye.
John.
Markowitz, aye.
Wes.
Folks, aye.
And Lopari, aye. Thank you. I see it's already up on the town website, so that's great. You get people to know what's going on. Now the ATM dates. This is going to be a discussion with a possible vote. I don't know. Do you want to do this, John? Mike?
Sure.
Want me to do that?
So there's been a fair amount of discussion since the special town meeting in November about preparing for the May annual town meeting coming up in the spring. And that discussion has focused around the amount of effort that it takes on behalf of the Blanchard School and the staff and the students and families there when we kind of displace them, for that. Now, we do have an agreement with the school that binds us into a contract to be able to use the school for our annual town meeting. Traditionally, I understand that the town usually starts the meeting on Monday, and then on Monday evening, that takes a vote of the town meeting members there to set the schedule for the rest of the meeting. And traditionally, it's gone from Monday to Tuesday, skip Wednesday, and then Thursday. And the discussion that's been going around that has included Diana as the chair of the board, myself, the town moderator, the town clerk. We've also involved John Fallon, our former town moderator, and others to see, does it make sense and does the town want to not skip the night of Wednesday so that we go straight through. In other words, if it was a 3-night town meeting, it would just be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so we thought it would be prudent to bring it to the select board for discussion and then take a sense of the board vote, to that effect. If the board was, felt it prudent, then to go consistently, throughout the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so forth. And that would be a non-binding vote because, again, it's really up to the moderator to conduct a vote on the first night of town meeting to see what the will of the majority at town meeting is. But I think it would give the community, at least for planning purposes, the dates that they can mark on the calendar, and it would also give the school a sense of direction. Do they need to hold the gymnasium available for us for the 4 nights for a 3-night meeting? So that's kind of where it is. So back to you, Madam Chair.
Yes, I believe because we control the warrant, we can put those dates on there. That's my understanding. So if we were to decide on those dates, we would say the town meeting would be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, whatever those dates are. I don't have that available at the moment. And then at the meeting, the moderator would take a vote that would affirm those dates, or there would be discussion to change them. That's my understanding. So we can make a vote tonight so that the warrant would be published in that fashion. It seems to be a lot of positive reasons to do this. The other thing I will tell you is that there is I believe, based on the feedback I've received, we originally talked about the idea of putting a sense of the meeting on the annual town meeting in the spring regarding a fall town meeting. I've since had further discussions, and it seems people want that to be a warrant article. And I think there's a very good likelihood that we may very well be looking at a regular fall town meeting, which might actually change our ultimate dates for the meeting in the spring to only 2 nights. That might be necessary. In any case, skipping that Wednesday is difficult for everyone, I think, on some level. And a part of it, I believe, in the consultations we've had, Becky Harris, who is the town clerk, has no problem with going straight through 3 nights. And that was one of the original reasons, I think, for skipping a night. So I strongly recommend this. I think it would be a good way to go. But I'd like to hear from other members of the board. What do you think?
I think it'd be a good idea because it's less disruptive to the school. Because otherwise, the school has to keep basically they keep the gym tied up for 4 days, and one of those days we're not using it. So if the weather is bad, the students might actually miss out on having phys ed that day. So I think it would make sense for everybody involved. There are pluses all the way around.
Okay. So does someone want to make a motion to this effect?
No, I'll make the motion and first say, I think it's definitely worth trying. What have we got to lose? To me, it makes sense to keep going because there's a sense of momentum. Once you're in the middle of the second night, to then take a pause for a full day kind of breaks a stride, so to speak. So I like the idea of going straight through. So let's see, what kind of a motion do we need here?
Les, I can do this.
Go ahead.
Okay, I move that the town set annual town meeting dates tentatively for Monday, May 8th, Tuesday, May 9th, and Wednesday, May 10th, contingent upon a vote held by the town moderator, polling town meeting attendees to confirm the will of the townspeople on the first night of May 8th, 2023.
I'll
Good.
second that.
Great. Any further discussion?
I think maybe John Fallon can chime in here to help me with this. I think that we have the right to call a town meeting on a definite date, but the vote we take on the first night is for continuing business, correct? So that it's until that vote is actually taken by the legislature, we cannot ever be certain as to what the subsequent nights will be. If I got that right.
I believe that's what John has said in the emails that we've received.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion or comments by anyone or by the public?
John had his microphone off for a minute if you wanted to, have him speak. John Fallon.
John, did you want to say something? I don't think so. I think he's fine.
I just wanted to agree with everything Diana and Les said.
Good. Well, we like that. We like agreement. That's good. Okay. All right. Seeing no further hands raised, I'm here to take a vote. Wes?
Fox, aye.
Wes?
Folks, aye.
John?
Markowitz, aye.
And Lopari, aye. Thank you very much. So now, Mike, board TA goals.
Okay. I'm just going to pull them up on my screen here. Are the goals up on the shared screen? Can you see them?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, great. So this obviously is a discussion between the board and the town administrator. But more importantly, this is focusing on setting goals for the town and what we want to accomplish. In other words, setting our roadmap. And so what I tried to do with this spreadsheet is take the categories of goals for the most part from the goal template that you voted on at your last meeting. And then what I did is put goals in the center column, some of which I took off of your, it looked like a work session that you had back in August before I arrived here. And then some things I've taken from other discussions we've had since I've been here, discussions I've had with the board, with staff, with community members, and then also from some of my own observations. So I can read down these and then we can take them as discussion. I started putting priorities in here, but I want to be able to change these. And I think there are enough goals in here that would probably carry us for 3 years, because I'm not going to pretend that I could get through all of these goals. I think there are some let's see, some 67 goals that I put. I don't really think that I can do them justice to try to get that all done in 1 year, but certainly, if the board felt that there was some that were priority one or highest priority, then I would want to start addressing those at the soonest. And so I call those priority ones, and then maybe priority twos and threes we take up in the second and third year. But I guess first, before we even get to priorities, we want to make sure, do we have the right goals up here for the town, for the board, for myself as town administrator? So I'll just start reading down through these, and then feel free to chime in and give me back some guidance. And my thought was maybe we could start this discussion tonight, and then over the next meeting or two, add a little more substance to it, take out things that don't make sense, add in things that make more sense, and then put some prioritization to it. So as far as your category of public relations, actually, I think your first category in the template was public relations and communication. And those are both pretty big. So I split them into two because there were a lot of areas within those. So on the public relations, question and answers with community groups. So I've started doing that a little bit in an informal basis, but I plan to formalize that, taking some of those meetings over to the community center, as well as meeting with some groups upstairs in the meeting rooms that we have here in Town Hall. And does it make sense? Would you like me, Madam Chair, to just read right down through these, or do you want to stop me at any point? You're on mute.
I think the thing is, perhaps if we just look at them on the screen, because there's a lot here,
Okay.
and just get an overall sense of what you're talking about, and then
Sure.
perhaps we can look at them in greater detail and come back and discuss individual sections, because I think it's a lot to do in one big group. I mean, this is actually great for a workshop, which I think we really could spend hours on these goals, so that's why I'm thinking we just kind of look at them, just a brief look tonight, and then we set a workshop to do things a little more depth. Because one of the things that might be helpful is taking some of these things and adding subgroups to them, specifically fleshing them out a little bit more. Wes, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just a thought. I know that we're moving towards like the strong COO role and strong town administrator. And in terms of that as well, in the past, we've also had not necessarily delegation, but like a select board partner and or like someone to also assist in moving these things forward, because your time gets split all the time, and there can just either be not necessarily just to remind you and say, hey, Mike, where are we on this? Or this is the thing that I really care about, but this also puts select board members skin in the game, because they have to commit to being held accountable as well for these goals. And they also get to work with, it gives them an opportunity to work with you, see your work, and provide valuable feedback during that time as well. Just a thought of how you want to go about it, or if you just say, hey, I want to be responsible for all this stuff, and then you just tell me how I did, or it can be a mix of all of that. It doesn't really matter. But for example, let's say the IT. I would love to be a partner and or collaborator or sidecar to that. And if that's something, then like I can help move that forward, but also with your direction, and whoever else you choose to delegate that to. But that's just another way, so you don't have to carry it all yourself.
So you're talking more about a landscape.
Kind of how we, not necessarily how we used to do the goals and objectives, where we would say, okay, the town administrator, and then who's the responsible select board person, because then that kind of just does the administrator, but somebody just to kind of say like, hey, if I need help with this, or let me just kind of like the go-to person, so it's not always Diana. And then as we continue over these next years, it's not always the same person, because what I also find happens is that the chair becomes overwhelmed with all the status updates of saying, hey, on this one, I'm here, like this is what I'm going through in this, but this also allows you to provide touch points to different members of the board, so that way it's not like a, whatchamacallit. So it's not just like a, hey, I'm just going to sit here and coast and you guys do all the work, right? Is I guess the best way that I'm trying to put it.
John, take your mic. Your mic, John.
Yeah, what I'm thinking about is this is quite a long list. And I think we'd all probably tell Mike, yes, we want you to do all of this. But I think from my perspective is that we as a board have a clear understanding that Mike goes through and gives us a clear understanding of what these mean. We can ask questions if we have them, so that we all walk away with the same understanding of what each of these goals represent. But then we separately just decide which ones do we think need to be done first, which ones need to be done second, which ones need to be done third, basically tying them to maybe a year. So which one should be done in the first year, which one should be done in the second, which one should be done in the third. And we give that information to Mike, and then he can compile that and we can see where we are. And then we can try to get to some resolution as to what we all agree to be the first, second, and third ones at another meeting.
Okay.
And I do agree with Wes's position that individuals on the board should take ownership to work with Mike on these.
Okay, Les.
Yeah, the goal setting exercises are always challenging. The things that typically come up is it's important to set a priority. Mike said it right away. This is a big, long list, and it's probably encompasses more than a year. But so I think there needs to be some articulation of what's the priority of doing this stuff. So prioritization is something you ought to think about. The other one is who's responsible? Who's the designated hitter? Who's the go-to person to make sure that it's getting done? Who's the driver, if you will? Sometimes we use that phrase. Everybody can't be driving everything, or nothing will get done. So we ought to have some idea of what's prioritized in terms of importance, and then who's responsible for pushing. And that third piece is how do you know when you're done? How do you know you've succeeded? Who's measuring it, and how do you tell? Some of that feedback should come from the community, because some of these goals are asking to step up our game on transparency and communications and those sorts of things. And I think people are expecting that and want that. And so we ought to put it out there and see how we're doing.
So I agree with everything that you've said, and with everything everyone has said. So I think the best way to go about this is for us to take this list, for all of us to make our own notes. We send it to Mike, or we hold on to them and have a meeting. Which would you prefer? The idea, I hate to give them more work, Kelly and Mike and Rashawn. So at least we need to go in and we need to look at this list and make some notes and decide what we think would be the priority for this year, and perhaps expand on some of these things, or add some specifics, and who we think the things that we might want to take on. What do you think about that procedure? And then we'll set up, after the first of the year, we'll set a goal setting right after Budget Saturday. We'll set a goal setting workshop where we just discuss this. What do you think about that idea? Les?
Yeah, seems reasonable. We have to parse this and down to things that are manageable, we can get our hands on. So yeah, some way of parsing it is definitely got to happen. I would guess I would primarily look to Mike to lead or advise or recommend on how to make the best use of our town hall staff resources to accomplish the work we think ought to be done. But we ought to weigh in on how we can help with that. So there's some fertile ground there. I don't know the answers to all these questions.
John?
I think, I mean, I agree we need a follow-on meeting. I just would like to have Mike go through it quickly to try to explain what he means by each of these or what he hopes to, the outcome to be, just very briefly.
Mike?
Certainly. So with public relations and communication, the general theme here on the public relations is building relationships, resolving conflict and concerns, building trust and respect between different groups. And I also put in there two specific ones. We desperately need volunteers for the celebrations committee to help us prepare for Memorial Day and Pfeiffer's Day. And we need a plan to care for the town hall flag, as far as when it's put at half staff and so forth. So I'll work on coming up with a procedure for that. On communication, the general theme here is about transparency, and all across, from employees to boards, commission members, residents, so that we're communicating openly. And a lot of this is going to be on myself, the staff here, and the employees to put communication out to the citizens, out to the public, but also across boards, committees, and commissions. But then also having transparent communication from each of those boards, committees, and commissions to other boards, committees, and commissions, as well as to the staff, and especially to the community at large. For board support, I'm looking for ways, as I'm getting rooted here in the community, to best support the board in having its discussions, deliberations, votes, and continuing to lead in the community, and establish policies that are in the best interest of the community. And then for community leadership, that would be at many different levels. But one of the main areas down four items down on town budget and warrant process, I think that's something that needs some discussion, particularly about ownership of the budget and ownership of the warrant. And what I would like to define for people is that while there are many hands in the budget and many hands in the warrant, it's the people's budget and it's the people's warrant. But then there are responsibilities amongst many of us for preparing the budget, for scrutinizing the budget, for presenting the budget, for setting the budget priorities, those sort of things, and similar for the warrant, and all getting ready for our town meeting. For organizational leadership, this is shaping our organization as a town, so that we can, we formally see what the structure is and how do we best effectively lead and provide public service to the community. And so several ways that I have mapped out to do that are with regularly scheduled department head meetings, leading and mentoring department heads, identifying people that we want to recruit into town employment, selecting them to work here, and then having a plan for better retention. In other words, stopping the revolving door. Another way that I think we can lead organizationally is by having a code of conduct, drafting and implementing that, and so that everybody knows kind of what the expectations are from a high policy level. In personnel management, this involves, I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but how do we best set up our staff for success, And one of the big things is the evaluation process. I want to take a look at the evaluation process, make sure that we have a good process in place, and then make sure that we're using it appropriately, not only on an annual basis, but also on an ongoing basis. Because I think whether employees are doing excellent or they need a little bit of a correction or guidance, in any case, people need feedback, and that's very important. That's what I'll be looking for as this evaluation goes on for me. But I would expect that any employee would want the same. And then some goal setting would be part of the evaluation process, and then setting up accountability. What are the expectations and how are we feeding them back to folks? Towards the bottom of the personnel management section here, two specific contracts that need to be negotiated. One is the fire contract. We have our next meeting on January 11th. And then the DPW director, his contract expires the end of June. So I want us to start negotiating that so that I can bring it to the board, early in the winter to start looking at it. Let's see, specifically the bringing the personnel plan back to town meeting in the spring, financial management, a number of things from big policies and plans to specific practices that will enhance stability and sustainability of the community from a fiduciary standpoint. And then specifically meeting with the finance team weekly, joining their meetings, and then learning from them and having myself available to various boards and committees, not the least of which are the select board, the finance committee, and the personnel board, so that I can answer to some of the financial strategies that we're taking on and the checkpoints that we're at. This is a big one that we've been talking about some, but I want to work on a plan to mitigate risk and to create a long-term strategy for reducing our legal costs. And then also a long-term debt strategy for flattening our long-term debt. So we're not having a roller coaster effect with spikes and valleys. Operations, this is something that I've started doing already, is the weekly meetings, but also continuing to formalize those so that we're best supporting and mentoring our staff. And then also, I want to turn this into a listening organization. So not only are we pushing out communication as we discussed at the top of this spreadsheet, but also down here, actually listening to what the community's saying, and myself and my staff listening to what our employees are saying, and having regular check-ins and updates with them. Infrastructure, there are a number of areas here that I think we want to focus on, and one that I believe you talked about in your August session was a facilities plan for preventative maintenance and repairs. Jumping down, it's been discussed about an ARPA spend plan and having that visible on the website. Also, there has been some discussion about the town hall meeting rooms and having a hybrid or remote meeting capability, and what's the equipment and infrastructure necessary for that. I know there's been some ARPA money identified, but that certainly needs some planning if that's to come to fruition. Something that is already planned is the Liberty Field construction. And now, while that's a recreation committee, project, and while we do have an engineer, we don't necessarily have an OPM or an owner's project manager. And unless there's something I don't know, I think a lot of that is going to fall on me. But if there's another OPM out there, I'd like to hear about it. And then community center in January, we're going to have a meeting with some of the key folks over at the church across the street, looking at the lease at least for the next year for the community center for meetings, events, and for use by the Council on Aging. But then there's a need to look at a long-term plan in that regard. For a strategic plan, this is something that I mentioned, and I think it's gotten pretty good feedback. Is a binder that key employees, which would be almost all employees, would have, that would show what their succession should be, what they're doing now, so that if any employee was to retire, take another job, take a leave of illness or what have you, that somebody could step right into their desk or position and without missing a beat, know what to do. And I think that's something that is sorely missed here, is a succession and a plan for a future succession of the organization, because it seems like there's a lot of startups and stops, and it's a very inefficient way to operate. So that's something that I think we want to talk about. Certainly, we need to talk about dispatch operations and any other opportunities for regionalization. We've talked a little bit about IT infrastructure and what a website and a document management plan should look like. But there's nothing formal on that yet. Let's see. I talked a little bit about mentoring, but I think we need to clearly identify where is the future leadership in our organization. And that's from the day somebody sets foot in as a new employee until we test them out, try them under fire and give them the support and the resources they need to rise to their full potential. Because I find that the folks who we give the opportunity to rise to their potential will be more satisfied and better resources for the community. Policy and procedure implementation, really that's a big item, and that needs some looking into, some research to identify what needs rewriting, what do we need as new policies and procedures to standardize practices here. Fee structures, that's something that we may want to take a look at. I don't know if that's a year one thing, but certainly, and that goes across the board, whether we're talking about building inspection fees, plan fees, use of recreation fields, a summer camp fees, you name it, rental of properties. And then in the last category, professional development, getting staff involved, those who aren't already in professional organizations, statewide and nationwide organizations, to learn some of the best practices in their field and bring them back here to Boxborough. Encourage people to engage in conference training, learning best practices, and then bring them back here and put them to work. So that's kind of a quick summary.
Wow. That's a great summary, and that's a lot of stuff to do. And it's really an amazing summary. Thank you, Mike. Before we go on with the board, do any board members have any more comments? Because I see Steve Ballard has his hand raised. Steve?
It looks like I'm muted. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hear you.
Oh, good. Hi. That was very impressive. That I just saw that, and I just was, although it was a very good summary, I do think maybe it's better to be simple and get to, instead of getting subsections, to try to narrow it down to what you really want to look at as your goals. And that should be different for all four of you. But for me, it would be water, fire, police reform, and the water resources committee. And if you look at it in terms of what committees are you, did you appoint that are very active at looking at projects that need to be started or that are important, that encompass a lot of the other things too, or can. Certainly, I think you need to look at this stuff and try to determine what's most important. I mean, maybe you'll just think like I do, that it's maybe the fire department needs a place on 111 and not on Stowe Road. and maybe this outcome determinative process for the building, the BBC that's already looking toward a $30 million project needs to be relooked at, maybe perhaps with an actual representative committee instead of the one you have now, which is not representative at all. And also the Water Resources Committee, which has been revived a few years ago. The last two meetings seemed like the first meeting, if you go and listen, and they're very smart people, two Brians and Les and Janet Connolly from the planning board, and let's see, Stephen Schmidt from the Conscom. 5 guys, and 1 woman, but 4 guys and 1 woman. They're formulating questions and looking for an RFP. I mean, it's been 20 years, and the problems have been enormous. And if we're going to worry about public safety building, do we need to worry about the fact that the fire department is 2 miles away from Swanson Road, but they got there really quick, but they couldn't stop a fire because there's no water. There's not enough water. So we have quality of water, salt issues, metals, PFAS, and quality and quantity, and the aquifer. We can't even do this stuff because our Water Resources Committee has done nothing and sat on their hands for 20 years. And so that is what is most important. Do we need, so look at that issue, look at the fire and police reform is the third one. We obviously need to fire some people, and we need to look at reform, and doing the dispatch, a regionalization or something would be part of that, obviously. And all this respect and all of that other stuff is maybe something that we don't even have to think about if you actually make the important decisions to have a representative town government that is makes Boxborough a community for all instead of a community for people who own big farms east of 495 and have been on committees for 20 years sitting on their hands. Maybe we need to, that's what you guys need to do, I think. Look at what's really important, because if you don't, we'll have some $30 million building project on Stowe Road that will go to town meeting and fail, just like the 25.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Bye.
I appreciate your comments.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, my suggestion is that I work with Mike and Kelly, come up with a format that works based on all your suggestions. We set a day for goal setting, and that in the meantime, all of the members of the board look through this list, make their notes, come up with their suggestions, what they would like to take on. And then we have a meeting where we put it up on the screen and we work at it as we go. That's kind of what I'm seeing as a way to go about this. And we just have a workshop that just works on this specifically when we set priorities. Does anybody, do you agree with that approach? Any thoughts?
That sounds reasonable.
I think it makes sense. Yep.
Okay, then I will take that on with Mike and Kelly, and we'll figure out the format and we'll figure out the date. And in the meantime, please look at this as a template. It's got so much on it, it's just incredible. So I think we do need to break it down into more manageable chunks for us this year. So take that on with all of that in mind, and we'll set a date and let you know well in advance when we're going to talk about that. Is there anything further on this item? Nope. Thank you very much, Mike. It's a very complete list. Thank you for putting this all together, and we'll talk. So now the last item on our agenda, aside from reports, is the approval of the various licenses that need renewals, and we're going to take these in groups. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to approve the various licenses in groups, and then if anyone has any questions or concerns, we can talk about them after they're moved and seconded. Okay, that's going to be the policy. First one are the alcohol license renewals. I move to approve the liquor license renewal applications for the Boxborough Regency LLC, Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill Inc., Robert Hirsch DBA Grapevine, and J&M Houghton Inc. DBA Boxborough Liquors for the year ending December 31, 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any comments from the public? Then we'll take a vote. Wes Folks,
Folks, aye.
Les Fox,
Fox, aye.
John Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
and Lopari, aye. The next one is the common victualler license renewals. And I have to confess, I looked up the word victualler today. Never realized before. In Britain, apparently it concerns alcohol. In the United States, it concerns food, which is something I never knew. I move to approve the common victualler license application for the Boxborough Regency LLC, Bumblebee Pit Stop LLC, and Oscar's Burritos Mexican Grill Inc. for the year ending December 31, 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Wes Folks,
Folks, aye.
Les Fox,
Fox, aye.
John Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
and Lopari, aye. Public entertainment on Sunday and other licenses. I move to approve the license applications for live entertainment and in-holder also for the Boxborough Regency LLC for the year ending December 31, 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Wes Folks,
Folks, aye.
Les Fox,
Fox, aye.
John Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
and Lopari, aye. Class 2 used vehicle dealer license renewals. I move to approve the renewal applications for the Class 2 used vehicle dealers licenses for Win Group Inc., DBA DRW Motorsports, Alpha Trading Services Inc., DBA Alpha Cars for the year, ending January 1, 2024. Let me just say, is the asset group removed from that, or Mike? It's not in my motion as I have it on here. Asset Group New England. Was that meant to be on here?
I'm not sure. Kelly, do you know, is that supposed to be on there?
746 Burroughs Road.
I think it was only on there once. I think just for the class 2.
Right, but it's not in the motion as I read it, so I need to include
Oh, I'm
it.
sorry. Yes, it should be. I didn't understand.
Okay, so let me read this one more time. I move to approve the renewal applications for the Class 2 used vehicle dealers licenses for Win Group Inc., DBA DRW Motorsports, Alpha Trading Services Inc., DBA Alpha Cars, and Asset Group of New England for the year ending January 1, 2024. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Wes Folks,
Folks, aye.
Les Fox,
Fox, aye.
John Markowitz,
Markowitz, aye.
and Lopari, aye. Last one, Class 1 new vehicle dealers license renewal. I move to approve the renewal application for the Class 1 new vehicle dealers license for URAL Trading Services Inc., DBA URAL of New England for the year ending January 1, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Wes Folks,
Folks, aye.
Les Fox,
Fox, aye.
John Markowitz,
John Markowitz, aye.
and Lopari, aye. Okay, the last is, for some reason, it's not on here, but the agenda is town administrator and select board reports. First, Mike.
Yes, thank you. So I just want to reiterate that we are looking for volunteers for the Public Celebrations Committee. And it's going to be very important that we do recruit some volunteers for that. This is the time of year in the winter when we should be starting to plan for Memorial Day as well as Pfeiffer's Day. I know that at least my understanding is that's been a very robust committee. They've been very active and run tremendous ceremonies and celebrations in the past. And I know there were a lot of longstanding members of that. That's one of these things that maybe we also want to take up in our goals when we talk about succession planning. we shouldn't find ourselves in a situation like this where we have an entire committee that's all even at the same point. So maybe we want to make part of it that people who are on a committee or a commission or a volunteer group, they start before they leave, maybe 6 months or a year before they think they might be leaving, to start recruiting somebody or mentoring somebody, bringing a visitor to a meeting and get them interested. Because I think if we get to January or February and we don't have some committed members to that committee, I think that puts us really behind the 8 ball. So I'd really encourage people to reach out to your neighbors, to your friends, and find some people that would be interested. And certainly these are not the kind of tasks that you want to take on with 1 or 2 people. It's much better, and it's also a lot more fun if you have a group that can get involved in it. Next thing is for your next meeting, I expect that there may be 2 more licenses for you to approve for annual renewals. They weren't ready at this point. One of them because they were missing some insurance certificates, as well as something from the Board of Health. And the other one because you have an applicant who's behind on taxes, and I thought it would be better to give them 2 more weeks to get their taxes and penalties taken care of, so that you can vote in the affirmative on their license next time. Also, at your next meeting, you can plan on having a budget presentation. I am in the process with the team of reviewing all the department budgets, assembling them, and Rajan and I are working on that with Kelly Pontbriand, and looking at our projected revenues versus the expenses to meet the select board's goal of a level services budget for next year with no new positions. So we'll be presenting that to you on the 28th. And a reminder, your next meeting is not on a Monday, it's on a Wednesday, because Christmas this year falls on a Sunday. So the town buildings will be closed on Monday, the 26th. So your next meeting will be on a Wednesday. Wednesday's December 28th. And then lastly, I do want to just remind folks that as was read earlier, there will be a holiday luncheon held here at Town Hall on December 20th. It'll be upstairs, and it's going to be from noon until 1:30. And we're inviting all employees of the town, no matter what department and what building they work in, to come and join us, as well as all members who are actively participating on boards, committees, and commissions of the town to join us for a festive holiday luncheon. People are welcome to wear festive attire, or just come as you are. And all decorations and food has been by way of donation, so there is no charge for employees or volunteers, and there's also no burden on the taxpayers for this event. So that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much. So that's when we're supposed to drag out our horrible Christmas sweaters and
Yes.
wear them for this event. Okay, good. Your best Christmas sweater. Do we have any reports from the various members of the board?
Yeah, I have a few things. First of all, some good news. You may remember, I think I mentioned it last time, that in May, the town meeting approved the acceptance of a deed for a gift of land from Ruth Landry, which land is at the corner of Summer Road and Flag Hill Road. And I've been working with Jean Kangas and Ruth on that, and with the help of Becky Harris, our town clerk, we finally did everything needed, and the deed has been recorded. So it's on record now. The town has that land in its possession. And so hats off to everyone who helped make this happen. I think there'll be some discussions going forward with the Recreation Commission about what they would like to do with that, but we haven't really started that conversation yet. We had a couple of comments earlier about water. In fact, the Littleton Water Department, which is has a project to try to bring in a service line into the western part of town, has been working on a project to do that for some time. And they would like to come and update this board in the very near future. In fact, a specific date has been proposed. I've asked the chair to set aside an agenda item for our January 9th meeting to have members of the Littleton Water Department's project team, which is being led by Wesson and Sampson, to come in and update this board and anyone in attendance as to what the status of that project is. They're going to be doing the same thing with the Littleton Board of Selectmen in roughly the same time period, so we can begin starting to track that project and understand what's going on. Mike recently signed off on the contract for Context Architecture, who will be doing the space needs review for public safety facilities. Gary Kushner, my vice chair, and I met briefly with the principals last Friday just to lay out some first steps, and they're going to be getting going right away on this. And we'll have an actual regular building committee meeting on the next, let's see, what date would that be? The 21st. So the building committee will hear from Context Architecture. We'll have a conversation about what they are going to do, and they'll be going around to the police and fire departments, talking about their input on this project, as well as Mike. So we're going to start getting underway on that in the very near future. So stay tuned on that.
Great. Thank you very much, Les. John?
Les, just a question on the review of the safety building needs. Will there be any discussion with the public?
Well, these are all open meetings for the public, so I assume they'll be coming in, but the Context will plan at some point when they have something put together based on their analysis, they'll start reviewing this, and we want to try to advertise that pretty well so the public can come in and engage on that, especially when they get far enough along to actually start proposing, conceptual design so people can react to it. But we're far from that phase at this point. This is really just looking at the needs alone, just a numbers analysis. What is a reasonable need for a fire department, for equipment and personnel and so forth? And the same thing for a police department.
Okay. Thanks.
But basically taking a fresh look at the HKT study and seeing where it ends up. Okay,
great. Thanks. The only other thing I had to add is I've been working with Littleton Light on the 5G policy that we have, because they've requested that we make some amendments to it. I completed a very rough draft and sent that off to them just before Thanksgiving, and I'll get back in touch with them and see where we are.
Okay.
By the way, speaking of which, John, it just reminded me that the last time I was in the area, my phone now says I can receive 5G. So there's 5G being broadcast around. I don't know whether others have noticed that or not.
Not in Boxborough.
Yes.
Really? Oh,
sometimes here and there.
Wow.
It's not actually 5G.
Right.
It's lying.
Yeah, it is. Like AT&T's been doing that for like 2 years. They call it 5GE.
I never saw the G. I just suddenly have started appearing.
It's actually 4F.
In more ways than one, right?
Yep.
So do we have anything else? So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second, who was seconding?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, Wes Folks.
Folks, aye.
Les Fox.
Fox eye.
John Markowitz.
Markowitz, aye.
And Lopari, aye. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mike, Rajan,